In the city centre of York is the York Army Museum. Join us now as we take a look around. York Army Museum is home to the collection of the Prince of Wales's own regiment of Yorkshire and the Royal Dragoon Guard. One infantry, one cavalry. Both are built on the histories of earlier regiments, spanning over 300 years of British military history. As a descendant of the Prince of Wales's own, the museum is also home to the collection of the modern Royal Yorkshire Regiment. The museum building was originally the headquarters of the 6th and 7th Companies of the 1st East Riding of Yorkshire Artillery Volunteers. Built in 1885 and was called Tower Street Drill Hall. The unit evolved to become the 9th West Riding and Staffordshire Medium Brigade Royal Garrison Artillery in 1920 and 54th West Riding and Staffordshire Medium Brigade Royal Garrison Artillery in 1921, before relocating to Lumley Barracks in York in 1924. Meanwhile, the drill hall had also become the headquarters of the Yorkshire Hussars early in the 20th century. The unit evolved to become the Queen's Own Yorkshire Yeomanry in 1956, but relocated to a more modern facility at Yeomanry Barracks in York. Instead, the building became the regimental headquarters of the Prince of Wales's own Regiment of Yorkshire in 1958, and of its successor regiment, the Yorkshire Regiment, in 2006. The building also became home to a military museum, subsequently known as the York Army Museum in 1984. The museum inherited the collection of the Royal Dragoon Guards and of the Prince of Wales's own Regiment of Yorkshire, and is creating a collection on behalf of the Yorkshire Regiment. Following an expansion of the museum financed by the Heritage Lottery Fund, the Duke of York visited the building in May 2015. The layout of the museum is simple and sets out its history clearly, and is easy to understand the different periods of history. There is a range of weaponry on display, along with flags, uniforms, medals and personal possessions which once belonged to soldiers. so many artefacts on display, it is easy to spend a couple of hours taking it all in. The great thing about the museum is that it gives you a good insight into the military throughout the different periods of history and the evolution of weapons and uniforms. The museum is open Monday to Saturday, 10 AM to 5 PM. Entrance fees are £7 per adult and £3.50 per child, and half price for service personnel, which includes veterans. All tickets are valid for 12 months. The York Army Museum is certainly worth a visit. Its many artefacts are interesting and will keep you engaged throughout your visit.